Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of The Blind Beat. It's AZ here with you guys. And on this episode, we're going to speak to Faith Penn. She is going to talk to us about her eye condition, which is glaucoma, and the challenges she encountered while dealing with this eye condition. With not only the sight loss, but also different circumstances she had to deal with in school. In this episode, you guys will hear about rehabilitation centers. LCB is the Louisiana Center for the Blind. If you want further information about the Louisiana Center for the Blind, go to www.louisianacenter.org. I met Faith when we were both seniors at the School for the Blind. We have remained friends ever since, and I am so glad that she decided to share her story with us. So without further ado, here's the interview with Faith Penn. Hey guys, thank you for listening to The Blind Beat. I'm here with my good friend, Faith Penn. She's joining us over the phone. How's it going, Faith?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for agreeing to participate, and thank you for wanting to share your story with us. What is your eye condition?
I have glaucoma. That's the main eye disease. Is a degenerative disease. So that's the main one I have. I also have what's called uveitis, and that basically means sensitivity to the sun. And I also have cataracts.
At what age did that come about?
Apparently, I was born with it, but the doctors nor my mother recognized it until I had an accident. I was being a little kid. I was 5 years old, being a little kid, playing around with a coat hanger on the doorknob, just spinning it around. And I spent it, and it jumped off this doorknob and got stuck in my eye. So
Ouch.
when my mom took me to the doctor, that's when they discovered, oh yeah, by the way, did you know your daughter has glaucoma and she's legally blind? So
Wow.
that's how it came around. After they did some more research, they discovered that I had glaucoma for a long time, like before 5.
So the other eye conditions also come about at that same time, or was that later on?
Those apparently came later on. They began noticing other eye issues around 7 years old, around the time that I was about to have my first surgery for glaucoma. After the surgery, they're like, oh, okay, well, we noticed this, and we noticed this, and by the way, this, and this. So all these things just came up, but we were always told that the primary issue was the glaucoma and the pressure and the calcium deposit that would build up on my eyes. I didn't begin noticing one eye was stronger than the other in regards to vision until I was about like 12 or maybe 13. I realized that my right eye was more prominent than my left eye. So I don't know, when I was younger.
Yeah, at a younger age, we're all just trying to be kids at that time. We're not really paying much attention to that.
Exactly.
How did that affect your schooling?
Well, that's sort of unique. My childhood was very sporadic. So my mom, myself, and my 2 brothers, we were all over the place. So I mean, I was in and out of school anyway. So that was a little different. But when my mother discovered that I was going to have all of these surgeries, she began looking into other alternative techniques such as homeschooling. So
okay.
we got into homeschooling. I did that for ever, it seems like, until about the 4th grade.
Yeah, that's different.
It was very, very, very difficult. I remember coming home, irritated because, the rest of the people who are there with me homeschooling, I couldn't see the board. I couldn't participate with any of the worksheets that were being handed out and things of that nature. And of course, back then, we didn't have a lot of money. So my mom was just going based off of what the doctors was telling us. Oh, your daughter can't see. And my mom was like, okay. And that was it. She didn't have resources
to get you like a CCTV or something like that,
or not. She didn't even have the resources to look it up or to do her own research about what I had. So therefore, she was just going off of what they were saying. It was just, oh, your daughter can't see, she's legally blind, and that was it. But nothing to teach her, this is what you can do to help your daughter, this is what she will need so she can function. Nothing like that. So going to school with these people, instead of them, they didn't know what to do with me either. So it's either, hey, Faith, go sit over there so you can go play with some blocks. So I'm constantly over there playing with blocks and stuff. Everybody else is learning. And then when we sing the ABC song, I'll sing that. We were sort of kind of learning as we went. One day she brought out a marker and she was writing on a white piece of paper with that. And I remember, I was like, oh, I can see that. And
Uh-huh.
then she's like, oh, okay. And this is she, meaning a teacher. And she's like, oh, okay, well, you can see this, so let's start writing your name. And so that's how that came about, me writing with a black marker.
Just
But
trying out different things.
just trying out different things, and we got some things down, but the majority of it, the things that I really really needed, we were not able to figure that out until I went to actual school.
So around fourth grade, did you get introduced to any assistive technology such as a CCTV or a note taker?
Yeah, so that's actually where everything really began for me. Where I was introduced to the blindness world or the blind community. It was actually an accident. I was in class, and I knew the teachers were getting frustrated with me because I couldn't read the board, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. And I tell them I just can't see that well, and that's the only explanation I knew.
Right.
And it was a total like just luck. Like, my teacher happened to be in the teacher's lounge one day, and the vision teacher actually was in there too. I don't know if she was eating or getting coffee or what, but the other teachers were talking, and they were saying, oh, I don't really know what to do with this girl. She can't see the blackboard, she can't do this, she can't do that, and I'm not sure what to do. I can't pass her because she's not doing anything. What should we do? And then the vision teacher said, oh, maybe she can't see. And then they said, maybe we should test her. And one day they came to get me, they tested me, and lo and behold, oh yeah, you should be in this class. You should be using this. This is what, and that's how I was introduced to Braille. That's how I was introduced to different note-taking devices, the Braille writer, my cane, all of that in the fourth grade.
Wow, that's a lot to be exposed to at once, but that's also a good time too, because we're young, we don't really know how much it really is, and for individuals who are not familiar with the public school, I mean, you do have a TVI, a teacher of the visually impaired, and every district should have one. Sometimes they're shared depending on the area that you're in. They're usually in charge of providing materials for the kids who need it, whether that be large print or Braille, or just really speaking to teachers and letting them know how the student is going to learn best. But you mentioned your cane. So at that age, did you start classes to use your cane properly, which are called orientation and mobility classes?
I began taking orientation and mobility classes, and I hated it 100%. completely hated it. I was in the fourth grade. I was already different, and then now I'm going to have something that's going to make me that much more different, and that's the cane. So I did not like it at all. I was very, very, very resistant to my cane. If I could keep it folded up and just hold it in my hand, I was doing it. But in orientation and mobility class, or O&M, I couldn't use it unless it was out. So I worked better when I was not around my peers.
Right.
So, but also back then, they had this attitude of that, okay, well, you have some vision, so you don't have to use your cane the entire time. You only have to use it for identification. That's what they were telling me, because I did have some vision back then. I could see, people, cars, whatever. So their attitude was, okay, well, you can use your cane only when you need to be identified as a blind person. So that was their attitude then. So they were very lax back then.
Right.
In that.
You had a little bit of vision. How was it completing your schoolwork?
Completing my schoolwork, it was still trial and error, and at least in the fourth and fifth grade, we're still trying to figure it out. I had to take several evaluations and things of that nature to see which piece of technology would be more beneficial for me. After we figured it out, we realized that they call it between medians. So I was using a closed circuit television, which is also called a CCTV, and then in some things I was using Braille. Like, say for example, spelling tests. There's something I would do that in Braille, but if I had to read a long paper or something like that, I would use my CCTV. So I was in between medians, but it was really slow going, because when you learn Braille when you're older, or when you're told, oh well, you're only gonna be using this for little things, you don't really, they don't force it, in my opinion, that they don't enforce it as strongly, in my opinion, as I feel that they should. So I felt, now as an adult, I feel like, man, if they had just made me sit down and learn Braille, I think that, and then that would have been my full-time medium, I would not have been so behind, I guess.
Right.
So behind or whatever, it would have been a little bit more smooth. But since I was between media, they're trying to accommodate me and okay, well, let's get this blown up for her. And I'm like, well, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, you guys should have just put it in Braille because it's taking me longer to basically like put my face on my eyeball on this page to read one word. It's
Right.
crazy.
And I mean, it's just a lot of trial and error sometimes. And like you said, like looking back, you probably would have done it maybe a little different.
Oh, yeah,
But
definitely.
so you were using a CCTV. Those are, if people are not familiar with those are pretty big. How did you manage that when you had to move from class to class when you went to junior high or high school?
Oh my goodness, it just got worse and worse. In junior high, I had 7 classes or 8 classes, I can't remember now, but I think it was 8 or 7, one of those. The CCTV was on this rolling cart, and I would push it from class to class, and everybody knew when Faith was coming because that cart was so loud. It was like this metal cart, and you're like, it's rattling down the hallway, and I'm like, oh great, now they're not only looking at me because I have a cane, they're looking at me because I'm being loud. So I absolutely hated it. So that was one way. So I would take that to 3 of my classes, and then they had a resource room. Instructors or teachers would give me work, and I would take the work to that room and use the CCTV that would stay in that room. So I would use the CCTV there, and then go back and turn it into other teachers. So it was basically taking me away from my peers when I was doing that.
During your public school time, did you get involved in any extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I did actually. I started in 6th grade. Actually, in 6th grade, I really wanted to become a cheerleader or whatever, so I tried out and I made it on the team.
Nice.
This is elementary school, so like we didn't really do anything. And then we went to middle school, and again I tried out and I made it on that team. So we had, oh my gosh, that was the biggest squad I've ever been on. We had 110 cheerleaders.
What?
And yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. And we went to competitions, and we went to all of our football games and things of that nature. It was so much fun. I loved it. And also in middle school, I joined the track team. So I got on track, but it was a little bit different because I could see, but I couldn't see, so I could see what was to say between the lines, but I couldn't see the little hurdle things that were apparently there for us to jump over. So yeah, as soon as I ran into one of those, I was done with track. Yeah. So I was done with track at that point.
When you participated in cheerleading in junior high, did they include you in the cheers? Were you in all of them, or was it just some of them?
Yeah. Or no, it was all of them. I could see well enough to see the majority of the moves, but then when it came to some of the details, some of those I could not see. And at that point, the cheerleading instructor, she already knew my situation. Everybody knew Faith because of the. So she already knew my situation. She would assign another girl or girls to work with me until I got it, but with the fine tuning. That's awesome. So I would work with them. Oh gosh, I was a pretty good cheerleader. I was always at the front. When we were doing our pep rallies, they were like, "Hey, get up front." I'm like, "Oh!" I was thinking about my herky and my toe touch, and I'm like, "I don't want to be up front," because I feel like last time. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna forget this. We were doing a pep rally, and we're on the stage. Her name was Miss Frazier. That was our cheerleading coach, and she's like, "Faith, get up front." And I was like, "I don't want to go up front, Miss Frazier." And she's like, "Get up front. You jumped the highest. Get up front." So I was like, okay. So I went up there and we're doing our little thing or whatever. And I jumped so freaking high. And I was like, okay. And I did my little toe touch and I'm like, okay, that's it. So we're done. So for the rest of the day, we had to leave our uniform on because it was a pep rally and we had a football game. So people were coming up to me, and that's why I didn't want to be up front, because I didn't like the attention. I mean, I was a cheerleader, but I didn't like the attention. So people were coming up to me. It's like, look at Faith jumping high. She hit that. So they're just congratulating me, but it just made me feel, some type of way. I was like, I was super shy, if you can believe that. I was super, super shy.
So in track, I would think that they would have moved you to like, okay, you can't do hurdles, because that's just one of the events. The coach didn't want to try, or you were kind of discouraged with that.
I think I was just a little bit discouraged, and then this guy, the coach, everybody's not going to be as willing as everybody.
Right.
So this guy, I mean, he didn't say you're off the team or anything like that. He just like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And then, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done. And he's just like, okay, no, I'm going to work with you. Yeah. No, keep trying. Or no, you were doing well until this. Let's try something. Nothing like that. Yeah. He's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'm done. All right. Well, thank you. See you later.
I do. And remembering back, I'm so thankful to teachers like Miss Frazier, for you, that really took that initiative and wanted you to be a part of the team, you know. And I remember teachers like that back in the day, and I also remember teachers like that coach would say, I really don't want to deal with this, you know. And so you were talking about it was a little difficult taking the CCTV, going from class to class and staying behind a little bit in your classwork. So is that what prompted going to TSBBI, going to the School for the Blind?
Okay, so I will say this. First, the decision to go to the blind school for me, or to the School for the Blind, excuse me, was made for all the wrong reasons. Remember back in elementary, I told you I was introduced to the blindness world.
Right.
Also introduced to the School for the Blind at that point. I went to summer camps starting at age 11, and it was so fun. Then fast forward, I go to high school, 9th grade or whatever. I'm doing well initially. I'm doing well. You know, I had the CCTV thing down. I wasn't pushing a cart in high school, but you know, I was getting my work. I'm going to the resource room. I'm turning it in. I'm doing all my work. Then I had to have another cornea transplant. I had my cornea transplant, and I ended up being out for 3 months. And I failed. I failed at that point because I wasn't doing any work. I couldn't see to do my work. I was all bandaged up and things of the nature at home, out of school, tardy absences, truancy, all that, everything you can think of, with all that was coming down on me. And they're like, okay, well, Faith, you can either repeat the 9th grade or you can go to the School for the Blind, and you can go there primarily for Braille and for math and see how you do there and then come back. And me, I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be just like the summer. I had so much. Yeah, let's go. You know, let's go. So that is what prompted me to say yes to go to the School for the Blind. Not even trying, not even thinking about summer school, like regular through public school or anything like that. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's go to the School for the Blind. And I went there again for all the wrong reasons.
In the School for the Blind, pretty much they have everything there as far as accessibility is concerned. Note takers, everything like that. So what did you use there?
So when I first came to the School for the Blind, I was introduced to, oh God, I think this thing is like obsolete now. It's called the Type and Speak, and it's basically a keyboard that talks. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. It didn't have a screen, no braille display or anything like that. Just a keyboard. You turn it on, and welcome to whatever it says, and you just type away. And had a word processor in there and a whole bunch of stuff. So I was introduced to that. I would take that everywhere, taking all my notes, doing all my assignments on my brown note. At the same time, I'm using the CCTV. Now, I'm not pushing a cart around, but, you know, since you're at the School for the Blind, there have CCTVs readily available everywhere. Right. So in my math class, I'm using a CCTV, you know, and I will use my braille note for the Type and Speak for the calculator on there. When I'm going to whatever other classes, I can't remember what I said, but any other classes I had, they had a CCTV already in the room. So they already knew, oh, that's Faith over there. Faith is at the CCTV. You know, that was my spot. Those are the main two tools that I was using initially at the School for the Blind. And then, you know, eventually I began using other things.
At the School for the Blind, were you using your cane every day? Did it change that?
No, it did not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it was not forced. I was still always told that, oh, Faith, you have some vision, so you're probably not going to have to use a cane every day or all the time. You just need to use it, you know, just for identification. During orientation and mobility, I would use my cane to, you know, locate whatever it is the instructor would ask me to locate, whether it's Walgreens somewhere on the drag or something, or going into the mall to go find Chick-fil-A or whatever it is. I would have to use my cane there. But as soon as those 2 hours were up, the cane was folded up, put back in my backpack, and forgotten about. Did not use my cane at all at the School for the Blind.
Now you're focused on your work, and you have different techniques and different tools to help you complete your work. Was there any extracurricular activities that you did do while at the School for the Blind?
Yeah, actually, when I got there, you know, I was in middle school and I was doing cheerleading, and then I went on. I was going to do cheerleading in high school, but I did not make it on the team there. When I went over to the School for the Blind, I noticed that they did not have a cheerleading squad there. They said that they had them in past years, but they did not have anybody to do them. So I was still basically drunk off of being a cheerleader, and I still wanted it really bad. I really loved it. I liked it. So I went around asking people. I asked my friend, her name is Michelle Tony, and I asked her, hey, man, what about cheerleading? And she knew more people than I did, and she would introduce me to some people, and they became the coaches. And so I got cheerleading started there. And then
nice.
In the summertime, and when I came in the summertime, I was introduced to Mike Woodward. I was telling him, like, man, yeah, I did track, but I ran into a hurdle. He's like, yeah, if you come here, you can join the track team here. So one of the first things I did was went to go speak to him. I'm like, hey, I'm here. where's the track? Where do I
Yeah.
sign up? Where do I sign up? And
Uh-huh.
I joined the track team immediately. And later on, I got into wrestling. I did do wrestling too.
So as you're going on, you're learning different techniques, different tools. Is your vision changing?
No, my vision is still the same. Sometimes I would get tired from looking at the screen, the CCTV. Sometimes I have to take a break or something like that. But as far as vision decreasing, no, it was fine. It was very stable. And whenever I went for my yearly checkup, whenever I was at home or whatever, my doctor's telling me the same thing. Oh, you're looking good. Looks like you have some calcium buildup. Eventually, we got to get that removed, but your vision's still the same. So I was doing really well.
So did your vision change?
My vision changed after an accident that I had. So what took my sight was not actually glaucoma. It was actually a blow to the face by a ball. So what happened was this fly ball hit me in my eye, detached my retina. So that's what took my sight, not glaucoma. So after that happened, my eye filled up with blood. I couldn't see for ever and ever and ever. And then eventually it came back, went away, came back, and then
Oh wow.
yeah. So it was weird.
So at what age did you go completely blind?
So that was during college. Like, as I said before, my vision was going in and out, and that's because my eye would fill with blood, then it would drain, then it would fill with blood and drain. So
Huh.
when it was filled up with blood, I could not see.
And
And
that
when
was
it was
because of the detached retina?
yeah, it was because of the blow. The blow to the eye caused my eye to hemorrhage, and that's the hemorrhaging caused my retina to detach. My freshman year, well, the year before my freshman year, my vision was gone. My freshman year, it was there. Freshman summertime, it went away. Sophomore year, it was there all through the sophomore year.
Oh wow.
Sophomore summer, it was there. Then junior year, the beginning of the first semester of junior year, it was there, and then second semester junior year, it went away for good.
So in your senior year of high school is when you had this drastic change of your sight.
Yes, that's what happened. Yeah, senior year in high school, getting ready to go to a track meet, last track meet of my high school career. I'm ready. I'm ready to break these records. Let's do it. And yeah, then that happened. So I still go.
Did
I
you
did
you
not want
did
to
you did
go.
go to the track meet?
Yeah, I went. My coach made me go. He said I had earned it. So I mean, I was super depressed though, but I went and he allowed me to stay. And they have these different groups. The way they categorize, I guess vision. So they have group A or A, B, C, and I was in C class. I mean that at that point I had some vision, so he allowed me to stay in the C class and participate in shot put. That was the only thing that I could do. I had not trained to run track as an A or a B, so I didn't know how to do it. So therefore, I couldn't participate.
So you
hmm
graduate from high school, you graduate from the school for the blind,
hmm
and you go into college.
Well, actually, what happens? I graduate from high school, and I don't go directly to college. I go to the Louisiana Center for the Blind, and that's because at that point, I remember I told you that yes, I was introduced to the cane, but I did not use it. So
Right.
yes, I was familiar with the cane, but I didn't really use it. I used it as someone who had vision. I never used it as a totally blind person. So I went to the Louisiana Center for the Blind to gain those skills that I knew that I would need if I was going to be blind. Because at that point, when I first got hit, I thought I was going to be blind forever. I didn't know that the blood was going to drain and that my vision was going to come back. I didn't know. So I went there. I got the necessary skills I need. And when I was there, they train you in things like, they call it kitchen class, but it's basically just independent living classes where they teach you, cooking and how to sew buttons, change light bulbs, change the belt on a vacuum cleaner, sweep and mop floor, things like that, daily living skills. They teach you that. You have your Braille class, you have your technology class, you have your travel class, and you have your industrial arts class, which is basically wood shop. And then you have your career class if you're going to, depending on if you're going to go to work or if you're going to go to school, and then seminars. So those are the classes that you have there. So you have to go through all those classes. And then after 6 to 9 months, depending on how fast you go through it, then you graduate and you move on. So that's what happened. So when I was there, I was taking classes at the Louisiana Tech college there. So I took a couple classes there, passed those. And then when I graduated from LCB, which is Louisiana Center for the Blind, not graduated, but transferred to Texas Tech University and started my college career.
How did you find out about the Louisiana Center for the Blind?
Actually, that was through my friend Joe Hensler. Joe Orozco. He told me about it.
So what made you? Because you said you wanted to go to Chris Cole, and Chris Cole and LCB do the same thing. But I guess in your mind, what was it that said I gotta go to one of these? You were gonna go to one, but you didn't want to go to the one there.
Yeah, so the deal is that I knew that I needed to be challenged. Like if I thought it was easy, I didn't think that I was going to take it seriously. You know, I wanted something that I was going to take seriously. I know myself, and I felt that if I went over to the Chris Cole Rehabilitation Center, I would not take it seriously. I wanted to be in something 100% completely different, something new, somewhere where I had no choice but to learn, because if I didn't, I would just basically be lost. I felt like at Chris Cole, like if I didn't learn something like, oh, you know, I'm at Chris Cole, these people will help me. You know, somebody knows
Well, and
me.
then also you were in Austin where you had
Yes,
been already, so you already knew a lot of the
yeah.
spots
So,
there.
so yeah, I also felt that like if I went out for orientation and mobility, I knew all that. I'm like, what exactly am I learning that's different? You know, and when you're at the school for the blind, they teach you basic daily living skills and things of that nature. And plus, my mom is awesome. You know, my mom is awesome. So growing up, you know, I had to learn daily living skills anyway. You know, I had to learn how to clean my room, clean the toilet, clean the kitchen. I knew most of that stuff coming in already, but
Right.
I knew that if I was going to be independent and be out on my own, I needed more than that. I needed to learn how to do it the blind way.
What was it that made you say I got to go to a center?
After my accident, I remember being extremely depressed, and I didn't come out of my room for a long, long time. Like I remember staying in my room quite a bit, and I just slept. And what prompted me was when I finally came out of my room, I didn't like waiting on people. I'm super impatient. I'm super impatient. So I would ask for something. I was like, "Can I have some water?" To one of the residential instructors. Like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you some water." And I remember waiting there and waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm like, why can't I get my own? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Why can't I get my own water? I have to wait for somebody to give me some water, you know?
Right.
And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I did not like it. So I'm like, oh, I need to figure this out. Or I would say, I need to go to the rec, you know? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I know how to get to the rec. Go to the rec. But I wasn't confident enough to get there by myself after losing my sight. So I'm like, can somebody take me to the rec? And I'm like, yeah, somebody's going to take you to the rec. And I'm still waiting and waiting. And I hated it. So
You're right.
that's what prompted me. I'm like, I need to go learn how to do this because I need to know this. I should know this. I want to be able to get up and go whenever I want to go. I don't want to wait for somebody to come do it for me or to take me there or anything like that. I want to be able to get up and go whenever I want to go and not wait on somebody. So that's what prompted me.
And when you get to the center, when you get to LCB, what was the hardest thing? Which one of those classes was
Oh
was
gosh.
challenging?
I, I feel like I tell this story all the time. It was 100% completely cane travel. It was cane travel, and then afterwards, I began to love it. But oh my gosh, I hated it. I had an episode in cane travel, and so you have to wear sleep shades, or you have to wear a blindfold. You know, if you have any type of sight. So even although my eye was hemorrhaging, I could still see light through the blood. So it's like, to me, it looked red and white. So what I was seeing was the light from the world, right, and then the blood in my eye. So that was the red part. So because I could see that, I had to wear a sleep shade, right? Even though I couldn't see anything, but because I could see that, I had to wear that sleep shade. In travel, one of the first things they teach you is how to get from the center to the apartments where you live. You have to learn how to get from the center to the apartments because you have to walk there every morning. So my instructor went with me and he was explaining things to me. So we came to the street called Bonner. I had to cross Bonner. The street that is a dogleg street is Mississippi. So Mississippi Street will start off on your left. However, when you cross Bonner, Mississippi will be on your right.
Oh
So
wow.
they call it a dog leg.
Yeah.
Even though you're walking straight, you're not doing anything different. You have to cross straight across Bonner, but Mississippi will start off on your left, and then when you cross Bonner, it'll be on your right. So
Right.
my instructor told me that, and he's like, "I want you to cross Bonner," and I'm thinking, okay, like that. So
Yeah.
I crossed Bonner, and he says, "All right, now stop and listen." So I heard a car go by. He's like, "Did you hear that car?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "To my left." And he's like, "What did I say Mississippi's going to be?" I'm like, "To my right." I'm like, "I don't know how Mississippi got over there."
Yeah.
I have no idea how Mississippi is still to my left. I crossed the street. He's like, "All right, cross back." So I went back, and he's like, "All right, cross Bonner." I crossed Bonner. He told me to listen. A car was still on my left. I'm like, "Why are the cars still on my left? What am I doing wrong?" So he made me cross that street over and over and over again until I finally figured it out. Dave, you're veering. You're veering
Uh huh.
over, like hardcore veering over to your right. So I'm veering across Bonner, And once I finally figured it out, he's like, okay, you figured it out. How do you fix it? I'm like, I need to cross Mississippi. So I crossed Mississippi, and then I'm so mad and so frustrated with myself. I throw my cane and I take off my blindfold. I throw that too, and I'm like walking back and forth. I'm like so mad. With me, when I get mad, if I get mad enough, I'll cry because I'm that angry. I'm like, my hands are shaking, my eyes are watering. I'm so frustrated. So that's how I was. I was so frustrated. I'm walking back and forth. Of course, granted, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm just walking back and forth. And I'm like, this is so annoying. I'm talking to myself. And the whole time, my instructor, he's just standing there letting me have my little tantrum. He's just standing there. And finally, when I calm down, I'm like, okay, brother, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And I'm screaming at him. And he says, I want you to go find your cane and go find your blindfold. Put on your blindfold and put your cane in your hand and continue on to the apartments. And I remember being so frustrated with him, but I see why he did it. He could, that was probably the best advice he ever gave me. It's like, you can have your tantrum, but you're still not where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You're still not where you're supposed to be. You have to continue on. Otherwise, you're always going to be lost. If you just stand here and have your tantrum, okay, after you have your tantrum, are you where you're supposed to be? No, you're still lost. You're still not where you're supposed to be. So you need to continue on. So I was like, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have my time.
Yeah.
But thank you for
my little moment here.
Yes, I had a moment.
So you went to the center trying to get that confidence, to be independent, to do things on your own. So before you went, did you think you were going to college, or was that afterwards where you were like, I can do this?
Before LCB, my mind was like, yeah, I'm going to go to college, but I was not expecting to go to a university. I was thinking I was going to go to like Dallas Community College, DCCC. So I was thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go over here to Mountain View and take some classes and be done. That's what I was thinking. And I didn't know if I was going to do it, but I was just thinking that's what I would do. I was like, maybe I'll do that. Or then I was thinking, oh, well, I graduated from high school. It's time for me to go have a baby. Those are my options.
Right.
Go to Mountain View or go have a kid.
Right.
It was ridiculous, but that's what everybody around me was doing. So that's where my mind was.
Right.
So fast forward, I go to LTB. I take this class. I pass the class. I'm like, oh, okay, I did okay. And then while I was there, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't know. My best friend, Carla, she's already at college. She's already in college. She's at Texas Tech. And she's like, oh, no, just come here with me. No, don't worry. It's going to be okay. You were salutatory. So
salutatory.
Yeah, salutatory. You're going to get in. Don't worry. Just come. And I was like, okay. And, at that point, I didn't know that I wanted, I didn't know or care. I was like, I don't have anything better to do. That was my mind frame. I don't have anything better to do. Just go to college. Just go because Carla's there. I said, okay. So I went, I applied, I got in, and I didn't realize that I actually cared about college until the middle of my first semester when I got my first F. I'm like, oh my gosh, I care. I do care. I'm sorry. And after that, I was going to my professor. I'm like, not hanging out, but I'm going to all of his office hours and like getting extra tutoring. I'm like, I cannot have an F. No way and no way. After that, I brought my grade up and I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord Jesus. I got a B. So I brought it up to a B.
Awesome.
But that was crazy. After I get that F, I'm like, oh no, I can never know. And that's when I realized that I do care. And I actually want to pay attention to what I'm doing, and it does matter, and things of that nature. So,
LCB and your friend just gave you that confidence to go out there and try it. And then you graduated from Texas Tech University with what?
So I graduated bachelor's in public relations and a minor in English.
It seems like LCB really had an impact on your life. It just seemed like it really changed your mindset as far as to what you could accomplish.
It really did. I mean, when I first went there, initially I was just going because I was like, I just want to learn, how to get around. But when you're there in the environment and you're surrounded by all these positive people, I mean, they're just like you. Most of the instructors there, they're blind. You know what I mean? So they're teaching you, and they're living their lives. They have families, they have houses, and they have careers, and they're teaching you how to do this as a blind person, and they're doing it with no issues. So when you're there surrounded by those positive people and you're seeing that they're doing it, I'm like, dang, I want to do it too. I want to do it too. I want to be successful. I want to be okay with talking about my blindness to anybody. You know what I mean? And they were fine with it because people were constantly asking us, "Oh, how do you do it?" or "What do you do?" And I remember it would be uncomfortable for me in the beginning. I'm like, "Oh, why do you have to talk about my blindness? Let's talk about something else." But these guys are like, "Oh yeah, well yeah, it's okay." It's just answering the questions like it's nothing. I'm like, I want to be like that. I want that confidence. I want that assurance. I want to be happy with who I am. And I believe that the LCB helped me to realize that I'm me, and I should be happy with just being me. And my blindness is a part of me.
What do you do now?
Now I work for the state as an employment discrimination mediator. I help resolve employment discrimination cases.
How long you been doing that?
I've been mediating since 2015. And I had to think about that. But before that, I was a mediation coordinator. And before that, I was a tech writer. I mean, once I became a mediator, I ran with it. I absolutely love mediating. I love it.
That's awesome. So what do you do now for fun?
I love to read. So I do it. If I'm not reading or if I'm not hanging out, then, I play beat baseball, which is adapted baseball for the blind. I do that. I recently just got back into the National Federation of the Blind's mentoring program. So I have a mentee now. So I'm hanging out with my mentee. I participated I was a blind ambassador with the Blind Cafe. So social awareness at events. I also participate with what's called the Birthday Wagon, which is an organization that goes to different shelters to put on birthday parties for underprivileged children.
So what would be your advice to somebody who's, dealing with sight loss and trying to take that first step, don't feel like they have to rely on someone or just have confidence in themselves? What would be your advice so that they can take that first step and start getting help?
If you want to, go get it. If you find yourself maybe similar to me and you're impatient or you're tired of waiting on someone, or if you simply just want to be independent, you want to learn how to do something and people are telling you no, you can't do it, do some research and then get in touch with the proper people that you feel that can help you accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether that's, at least in Texas, whether that's the Crisco Rehabilitation Center, Louisiana or Colorado, or anything else that you think that can help you. Be confident in yourself and be willing to talk about yourself and your blindness, your limitations, and what you can do and what you cannot do. And once you feel comfortable with those things, take that and run with it and learn everything that you can learn. Who knows? You might be an instructor someday.
That's great advice. And I thank you for being on the show. I learned a lot from you because you have a lot of confidence in yourself, and I respect that. Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you so much anytime. And, if you need anything, just let me know.
All right. Thanks, Faith.
Yep.
That was Faith Penn. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Remember that if you would like to interact with the show, follow us on Twitter at The Blind Beat. And also remember, if you have any assistive technology questions, the San Antonio Lighthouse has an assistive technology helpline. You can reach it by calling 1-833-582-3271. That's 1-833-582-3271. Join me next time for another interview here on The Blind Beat.